I believe we have a major winner, an unequivocal winner of the Chart of the Day award, perhaps even the Chart of the Week or even the month. With that said, welcome back to EllioTrades channel. I'm your host Krown again today, and we have a big one coming up as we follow up on the last a video that we put out realistically over the last few weeks here. We've been doing multiple iterations of this, and now it is all coming to fruition. So I want to follow up on Ethereum, Bitcoin, and then of course how that affects the greater landscape as a whole. Before we get into it, however, I do want to let you know I have my own channel. There is a link in the description below, and we go over a daily analysis on Bitcoin and do some live stream fun action as well, if that so interests you. All right, so let's waste no more time. Let's get into it right here. And we pointed out this chart, I think initially maybe in like October, and we've been following through as this one matures over time, and that is Ethereum Bitcoin. Why is this one important? Well, first and foremost, it has, as we went over this past weekend, great correlations with the macro direction of Bitcoin and by extension, the greater crypto landscape, meaning that when Ethereum Bitcoin pairing, this chart right here, is bullish, well, typically Bitcoin is in a macro rally, or at least in a long-term upside market, and the greater crypto landscape, meaning the general alts, are typically faring quite well throughout this time. You can view that video from the past weekend for a verification of that, and then of course decide for yourself, but it's there for you to watch at any moment in time. And this week, we do have the culmination of a 6-month long, I need to count them out. May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Yeah, 7 months. Sorry. Hey, I'm American. I don't know my months over there. Anyway, 7-month-long consolidation. And what I can say about this is that from a Wyckoff perspective, and what I've also seen myself, is that the longer that you do consolidate, typically the bigger result. And this is about as clean and clear of a formation as you can get. We have our rising bottoms right here. We have our same resistance level over the past 7 months. And what does that essentially account for? An ascending triangle. And what do ascending triangles essentially imply? Well, there's psychology behind them. Buyers getting more aggressive, aka the higher lows, sellers waning within their inventory essentially. And at some point, well, one side gives, and in this case, the probabilities are in favor of the boo laws. And the boo laws are actually bringing it above your topside resolution, which was in confluence with not just this level right here, but also the 1.618 Fibonacci extension from the prior macro base coming in from 2018 to resolved in actually early 2021. And this does have a technical target measured move all the way up to about 9.4 to 9.5 million Satoshis over the next coming weeks. Now, there is an invalidation on this. As always, that's how I want to differentiate this content on this channel, not just talking about amazing targets or doom boy targets, but putting up like what actually makes a realistic trade plan. Not that this is financial advice, but it's not complete without such things. And what would invalidate this as a setup? Well, coming back down below our current daily higher low, which would be right around 7 million Satoshis, would invalidate this, as we've been going always and forwards here. And we're also trending above the topside Bollinger Band as well. Just need to close above there, which the 5-day is likely going to be able to do today with any sort of a closure above 8 million Satoshis even. If that condition is met, we will have volatility expansion alongside trend continuation, alongside a technical breakout. And we can see that this is extremely mature here from a volume from a volume perspective as well. So this is looking quite good. And while this would be my target over the next couple weeks, and I would be looking for a bit of a pullback from that region, to be fair. Upon validation above about 9.5 million Satoshis, I would look for much greater legs. The next major target would be at around 10 million 700,000 Satoshis, which is in line with your January 2018 highs right here. And then of course, much more long-term down the road, we're talking probably months and months away, but upon validation above there, I'm generally looking for my macro highs somewhere in this territory between the 2.414 and the 2.618. Okay, great. So we've gone through all of that. Now let's get into the fun stuff. So how does this play into the good old alt season, of which, I mean, you could argue that we've seen an alt season already. In fact, I mean, plenty of altcoins have gone to the moon and beyond, and fair enough. And of course, certain sectors like the metaverse sector and the gaming sector have certainly been doing that as well. But let's look at total 2 here. So total 2 as a chart represents the total market cap excluding Bitcoin. So this is typically what people look at to judge if we're we're in an altcoin season or not, meaning that, is right now the good risk on time for altcoins. Anyways, what do we have here on the weekly? Well, we have a general uptrend. We have a beautiful uptrend, you might even say. And what I want to really put a focus on here is our volatility reads, of which we have an extremely low read right now. We are coming down for reference to on a weekly, this, by the way, which is a very powerful time frame for this, at a low of about 7.14 percentile. Now, volatility is designed to expand. Similar to what we saw on over here in October 2020, I'll give you an idea of what that read produced coming out of this base as it did essentially break above its macro range highs. And from that low point to the next actually high in this case, because it was just a straight shot up, was almost 1,000% move. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen right here. Obviously, volatility is also direction neutral, meaning that this can be expansion with price action going to the downside. So that's why we're going to look at structure and momentum oscillators soon enough to get a further bias on what's more likely to happen. But I do want to point out a few more examples where we saw comparable levels to what we have right now. One of them being actually not so long ago in March 2019. And this one precipitating this nice move over here. It doesn't look like much, but it is a 200% move. And this was still within a macro base. So it was a consolidation time. Right now we are, or Ethereum, more accurately said, is, well, not consolidating. Anyways, we have another example right here coming out of this major base. This one actually quite similar to what we're doing right now and going up. Again, it doesn't look like much, but once you actually measure it out, 640%. The time before that was coming out of this base in November 2016. And before the next general consolidation went up about an amount I'm not comfortable with saying, but quite large. I'm not saying that this is in any way, shape, or form going to happen to that effect, but I do want to give an insight as to what the prior iterations of this have done. And then obviously one more over here, and I'll let your imagination do the work on that one. Anyways, the weekly RSI is now officially back in the bullish control zone. And if we go over here to the daily, you will notice that we have multiple drives on the daily of hidden bullish divergence in confluence with this being confirmed as a higher low, as it does trade above the prior range highs, and volatility on the daily, obviously very, very low as well. So let me explain, if you're not familiar with what hidden bullish divergence is, it's probably better known as continuation divergence. I'd actually like to rename it for my own purposes to that, 'cause it's more accurate. But basically within the context of an uptrend, we see that the RSI oscillator is making lower lows with the RSI correlated with higher lows on price action. And that essentially implies that bears are using more force, but getting less of the way down. And well, momentum takes over, and that is essentially how you typically get your higher lows in an uptrend, which is what we're doing right here. And this will be fully confirmed today with any sort of a closure above about 1.525 trillion. We're looking at, again, total 2 market caps. So these are rather large numbers, even though the chart itself looks incredibly similar to Ethereum. In fact, in the 5-day also closing today as well. And well, that might just be your next higher low. Anyways, let's move on into the next one. I want to go over to, we should actually talk about just momentum very quickly here. This is a stochastic momentum oscillator. We just got our new monthly close. So this is a monthly chart right here. We got our new monthly close, of course, as this is December 1st. Happy December, by the way. And it is crossing back up into the critical zone. This is, well, quite good. The last time we saw this freshly happen was over here in November 2020. And that was, again, precipitating this whole run alongside that volatility read, going all the way up for about an 800% gain. And then the time before that, getting into that region, was precipitating this run at about 880 million before going to 314 billion. Kind of crazy. All right, cool. So that gives us a little bit of a bias on direction. What would destroy this? What would essentially make this not valid in its current setup? Well, very obviously coming back down below 1.4 trillion with a T. Okay, so let's move into our next chart over here, and we're going to talk about long-term targets. Ah, man, I'm giving it away. Well, there it is. Show's over. Now, let's do it right here. So this was a chart that we were working off of maybe a month and a half ago, and I just want to follow up on it. So we had one massive cup and handle here. Here's your cup, here's your handle, and we do have a technical target based off of that on the resolution, which was had actually way back in October. So I think that we recorded this probably in October then, maybe in like middle of October. And, it takes us time to obviously extrapolate. Of course, this is a macro move after all. It's not going to happen all in one day. But over the course of the next few weeks and months, I would be looking for it to hit the next technical target at about 1.75 trillion. And then the full on measured move out of this base right here is actually all the way at the $2 trillion marker, which is a nice round psychological even number. So technical target, psychological even number, and the 1.618 Fibonacci extension right there. So all of this is incredibly interesting to me, as this chart really, is, dare I say, looking good. So I think that this is a good place to leave this video off. Again, be aware of where the invalidations are. That's really where I want to differentiate this content, of course, because setup or trading isn't all just about these crazy targets or whatever. It always has to come within the context of, okay, what am I looking for? What is my risk? Where is my entry? Of course, we're not going to do all of that right here. That'd be quite literally financial advice, and I'm not a financial advisor. And what else do I want to let you know? We got the good old Bybit shill in the description of the video as well. Of course, I always want to say, look, if you're not already a successful trader, it's probably unwise to be doing these sorts of things. I do not recommend leverage trading. I do, however, understand that there is a nice benefit if you are already a successful trader to use these links, because you will get a deposit bonus, a rather large one actually, and you reduce trading fees as well. If you are a new trader and you're looking to learn, a really good idea to do is to paper trade and not put any real finances at risk. And then, find some content that you gel with, that you feel like you can learn from, of which I have several free playlists on my own channel, and there should be one coming on this channel in the not so distant future. And hopefully that can be of some value to you. Anyways, I'll be signing off now. Take care and enjoy.